Hello, and welcome to WBC's election debate. For the first time this election cycle, and possibly the last time, these three leaders from all of our separate parties in Harlan will be coming up to debate and speak their opinions on the subjects that matter to you. This debate will help you shape your opinion in this upcoming election as we figure out who we want to lead our government in either a majority, minority, or coalition government. Now, I would like to introduce the three leaders quickly. Towards positions were randomly generated and chosen via a random generator. Towards our leftmost, we have Januki from New Initiative. Towards our center, we have CodeWiz from the Harlem Progress Party. And towards our far right, we have Ocelot from the Right to Booze. The Right to All Booze. My bad. All right. Now, each of these party leaders will be delivering a opening remark before we get started. Everything said in this debate will be timed, as we don't want to go on for too long. So, first of all, I am going to invite Januki to give their opening remarks, as they are on the leftmost side.
I have 3 minutes, right?
Yes. 3 minutes
Um,
starting now.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow Hanonians. Thank you for coming today. I am Januki, leader of New Initiative. The NI was formed to give the people a real alternative. Yet after a year, we are facing the toughest challenges since our formation. We know that people are considering us an opposition alliance that has lost its direction. But today, I'm here to prove to you that NI is different today. This election, we have policies planned for three aspects: home affairs, finance, and infrastructure. Let's start with home affairs. We know Halonians love trains. We're going to organize more train driving events to tie the community together. We also support West Trade's initiative to hold NicheGuy at gunpoint to open up the HHL. But for real though, we really need more regular hockey games. Besides, we're going to streamline the government operation by giving more flexibility on the creation of departments. We want the government to be able to establish and remove some departments, and currently only the former is possible. We don't want all departments to be listed in a law. Also, there are too many employees, while not all of them are active. We will introduce a payment reform where employees are paid by tasks they complete on top of a smaller base salary. This will give employees a larger incentive to work and ensure accountability. On finance and economy, the NI strives to protect investors. We will impose regulations on the market to prevent stocks crashing due to one player selling everything and to tackle other issues. We will introduce a smaller budget to target the most important issues and reduce the deficit. Finally, infrastructure. Currently, the population is focused in the capital region. As other regions start to be developed, we will propose more cheap housing outside the capital to distribute the population around the country. This also ensures that the new election system can be implemented more effectively. We will also propose more oil rigs to be built so that private fuel companies can have more market share and more competition. This will benefit the people and boost economic activity. There are lots of other stuff we're planning to do, and you may check out our full manifesto that will be published in probably tomorrow or 2 days later. Over the past 6 months, the government has laid a strong foundation for future development. What Harlem needs now is a government that will move forward with one clear direction, and that is new initiative. We will improve activity across the nation so every citizen feels encouraged to take part in community work and business. We will bring back confidence and transparency that everyone deserves. The new initiative is back and is stronger and more prepared than ever before. A vote for NI is for a more transparent government, a more prosperous community, and a more glorious republic for the Halonians. Please vote for NI next weekend. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Januki. Next up, we will have CodeWiz from the Harlan Progress Party. CodeWiz, you have 3 minutes starting now.
Over the past 6 months, the Harlem Progress Party has strived to not only improve the daily lives of Harlonians, but also connect further with every citizen. This next term, we strive to not only continue that, but to implement even newer changes like further developing the stock market, further developing our national transit, and our local representation. We aim to redraft the Civica as well as some other local administrative acts and improve them to better fit the state of Harlan today. We also want to establish more opportunities for citizens to take place in events and any and activities of the sort. The Harlan Progress Party will not only work for every citizen, but we will strive to be better by the day. Vote for the Harlan Progress Party. Thank you. I yield the rest of my time.
All right. This would be the part where I would ask Ocelot to deliver a statement, but he appears to have had a technical issue. So from here, we are going to move on to our first category, that being infrastructure. That's right. In the city where all we talk about is trains, we're going to be talking about trains. So now, for our first question, it will be directed towards Januki. Januki, you will have 2 minutes to respond, and then afterwards, CodeWiz will have the option. Afterwards, CodeWiz will have 2 minutes to respond, and then afterwards, both of you will have the option to respond to each other. Ocelot would also have the opportunity, but he is currently not here. So, first question will be to Januki. What would your party prioritize in terms of projects on getting built with staff? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Sorry. Can you repeat the question?
What projects would your party prioritize getting built with staff? You have 2 minutes starting now.
The first thing we're going to prioritize is cheaper housing outside the city of Harlan, because as we know, we have the Civica, we have the National Elections Act, and also we have everything being developed outside of Harlan right now. For example, we have Victoria, and I think it is a great chance for us to propose more cheap housing outside the city, and so we can distribute the citizens across the country, so that not only the city of Harlan can prosper, but the entire Harlan can prosper together. Yeah, that's it.
All right, CodeWiz. What projects would your party prioritize getting built with staff? You have 2 minutes starting now.
So within almost all of Harlan City, there are a lot of empty properties that are neither for rent or sale. One goal we want to work on is implementing the ability that almost every property is available for rent or purchase to further allow citizens to expand to any spot in the city they wish. We also want to, as Januki mentioned, expand our infrastructure projects to the further outlying cities and develop the infrastructure for people to get there. Another one of our priorities, infrastructure-wise, is to make sure that there are many open spaces and places for people to socialize and for events to possibly be held to further foster a sense of community.
All right. Now, I'm going to give both of you the opportunity to respond to the other's points. Januki, you're going to be given an opportunity first. Would you like to respond?
I don't have anything to add on this topic. I think we can both agree on infrastructure outside the city. So yeah.
All right. And Code, I'm presuming you also have nothing you would like to add?
Nope.
Okay, in that case, we will move on to our next question. Question 2. What existing infrastructure would you work on strengthening? CodeWiz, you will be responding first. You have 2 minutes starting now.
So one part of infrastructure that I feel like could be majorly approved upon is our bus network within Harlan. I believe we currently only have maybe one or two functioning routes that I'm aware of, and I think that it would be very beneficial to further expand these bus systems to make, as they are, a simple and easier way to develop public transit.
All right. Januki, you will have 2 minutes to, okay, what existing infrastructure would you work on strengthening? 2 minutes starting now.
I think on the existing infrastructure, as the staff has also mentioned, the priority of them is to refurbish the older metro lines, for example, M1 and M2, and I don't think we as MPs could do a lot about them, but we would definitely support the refurbishment of the older metros because I think that would benefit the people as well. These two lines are very important to citizens within Harlem, so I'm looking forward to see them being refurbished. But also, as CodeWiz have also mentioned, expanding the bus network is also very important because there are a lot of places outside the city that we would need buses to reach. And I think traveling on buses, especially across the mountains, for example, at Stanford, I think it is a pretty fun experience and a great chance to promote sightseeing across the city. Yeah, that's it.
All right, and would either of you like to respond to what you have both just said?
No.
I'd like to ask CodeWiz,
Okay,
if
you have 2
you are
minutes
going to
starting now.
if you're going to propose a bus line right now, do you have any plans that where that line would go?
I feel like if there's one part of Harlem that is kind of missing, like transit between, it'd probably be close to like just the center of the main island. Like I feel like we could run a few routes there, and also I know tram routes have been proposed, but also to the northernmost part of Harlan, the Travelington, that I feel like we could expand there, and also within Westland, I feel like there could be some better connections. Um, yeah, those are my main ideas.
All right, I'm presuming we're done then. So we will move on to our next question. This will be first asked to Januki again because Ocelot is not here. What is your main transit policy? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Our main transit policy is, of course, the main transit that would be in Harlem is the railways, because a lot of players come to Harlem to experience our railway, and I'm very proud to say that this server probably has the most advanced uh, railway system, including driving and signaling, among a lot of servers. So we're going to support more railway extensions. For example, there are a lot of lines planned in the Hallonian National, I think, as Dov has mentioned publicly before. And so yeah, the transport policy of the NI is to support more railway development.
CodeWiz, same question. What is your party's main transit policy? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Our main transit policy is just to build transit in any place that needs it. So whether it be like newer cities that are expanding, or underserved communities within Harlan City or the broader region, I feel like those are the main spots that it would be good to expand in. And our other main policy is to like make sure the quality of the transit is there.
All right. Januki, would you like to respond to that? And CodeWiz, would you like to respond to Januki?
I'd like to say something.
All right, Januki, you have 2 minutes starting now.
So here in New Initiative, we promise to propose that we are going to keep all public transit under £1 or free at all. Is your party going to propose low price for the transit when the go-to card is back on track? And how are you going to implement the single Harlem transit fare you mentioned in the October 25 manifesto?
CodeWiz, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to respond to that.
Okay. I did not remember what that being in the manifesto of October, although I might have just not read that part.
I will quickly confirm that was in the October manifesto.
Okay, good. But I feel like fares would be they should be low, definitely. And furthermore, we should try to keep like certain types of transit, like the buses and the ferries, free of charge. Yeah.
All right, Januki, would you like to respond again? This would be your final response. Or are you good? Okay, I believe that is I'm good. So next up, we are going to move towards hold on. Okay, so next up we are going to move towards home affairs policies. Now, both of you have actually served as Minister of Home Affairs, so this shouldn't be too far from you. Now, our first policy question will be directed towards CodeWiz, and it will be, what would your party work towards in local governance and why or why, or sorry, would your party work towards local governance and why or why not? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Definitely, as for both the bills we proposed earlier this year, we would love to implement local government and help like establish just representation for the smaller places in Harlan. Overall, we are very pro local government, and we look forward to expanding the local government in any way possible. Yeah.
All right. Give me a second. Just changing around the camera. Okay. Now, I would like to quickly welcome the apparently new bar leader Crackup. So
Yes.
they will be taking Ocelot's place in this debate. Breaking news here on WBC. See, this is why you watch us. We got the first scoop. Now, all right. So next up,
Ocelot had some internet issues, so I'll be taking over for the rest of the conference. But I believe I'm also the new party leader.
yeah. All right. So next up, okay. So, I guess because CodeWiz responded first, I am going to ask this to you now, Kraka. Would your party work towards local governance? Why or why not? You have 2 minutes to respond.
Local governance. I would like to think we would. We have a section regarding in our new manifesto that we will be publishing shortly, I believe, regarding how elections will be looking in the future under our governance. And we aim to let citizens registered in a district be able to choose their representative by marking the candidate of choice.
All right. Okay, and now Januki, you are also going to get to respond to the question, would your party work towards local governance? Why or why not? You have 2 minutes starting now.
For the NI, we are neutral on promoting local governance at the moment. While we are not going to vote down other parties' plans to establish more local governance, one of our main concerns is that we don't have enough population to support local governance in Harlem. For example, actually long ago, I thought about whether we could establish maybe a council in Lumia, and um, there isn't enough population to support this policy, so we just ended up not proposing it. But if in the future we have more population across the country, we are going to support local governance because that's going to improve democracy across the country.
All
But
right.
not at the moment.
Okay. Now, CodeWiz, you would you like to respond to either of the candidates' answers, and then afterwards I'm going to move to Kraka and then Genevieve.
Yes.
I would not like to respond, or actually, I would just like to ask Kraka if he could further elaborate on the points.
Okay.
How do you mean further elaborate?
I'm gonna
Like anything in particular?
Just like further explain what your specific plan is.
all right, Kraka. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes starting now.
Yeah. So we are for the addition of districts or further subdivisions below parliament level to govern Harlan server. Each member of parliament would represent a certain district, so similar to, for how example, the UK functions in that regard, where you have a member of parliament from a certain region. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Now, Genevieve, would you like to actually? Sorry, Kraka, would you like to respond to any of the other two candidates?
I would just like to say that I think Januki has a good point, that perhaps the server size is a bit too small. We don't believe that that is necessarily an issue, because we still have like good voter turnout in elections, and we believe that's enough to support local governance.
All right, Genevieve, I will give you 2 minutes. I believe you want to respond. You said something along those lines, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes to give a response now.
I'd just like to ask a simple question to CodeWiz. If we're implementing local governance in this term, how do you implement it without causing a lot of bureaucracy? For example, creating a lot of positions that are empty, or just have places with a local government and that just literally everyone in the region is a part of the government. I don't think it would work perfectly as you expect it to be, and it would turn out to be bureaucracy. How would you prevent that?
Right. CodeWiz, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to respond, starting now.
So I feel like the best way to avoid that is to make it scalable. So like instead of having a rigid amount of seats, like have it be like a certain percent of the population of that region based on like the census. And I feel like that would be a very easy way to just keep it on scale. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we will be moving on to the next question now. What events would your party hold via the government? Kraka, you get to respond first. You have 2 minutes starting now.
Thank you. So, BAR as a party has always been a very events-focused party. We believe that it's what really keeps the activity on the server high, promotes old members to come back, etc., brings new members in too sometimes. For example, the train event hosted by Mako, I believe it was last week, very successful, and we definitely want to continue similar things in the future.
All right, I am going to stop the timer. Januki, what events would your party hold via the government? You have 2 minutes starting now.
As we have mentioned, we're going to hold train driving events and hockey games. Not just the HHL, but like regular hockey games across the entire term. Because we think it is a fun way to connect the community together. And also, if we're going to do like something else, we're going to revitalize the idea of like having a magazine, like we have discussed before. So people can just submit their artworks and, for example, poems or drawings, whatever, not really related to Minecraft. But I think it is a way to just connect people together with the same interest.
And CodeWiz, same question. What events would your party hold via the government? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Some of the events we want to prioritize are events that give back to the people. So like treasure hunts or scavenger hunts, or as we have in the past, like giveaways. We also want to prioritize like events that lend to people being creative, such as like an art contest like we are holding right now for the presidential estate. We also think a good goal for events would be to just make sure there's interest for them, and like, yeah.
All right. We do appear to be having some technical issues, but I will continue with the debate because it's a voice debate, so doesn't really need to be screened. Okay. So next up, Kraka, would you like to give any responses to any of the 2 other candidates?
No, thank you.
Okay. Januki, would you like to give any responses to any 2 other candidates?
No.
Okay, and CodeWiz, would you like to give any responses to any of the 2 other candidates?
I think he's away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In that case, we will move on to the next question. So next question is, Januki, what programs would you introduce or build on to help expand Heartland's player base? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Can you repeat the question, please? Sorry, it's lagging a bit on my side.
What programs would you introduce or build on to help expand Heartland's player base? 2 minutes starting now.
I think Heartland already has a pretty large player base, although not enough to support the local governance thing I just mentioned. But we have a pretty great player base already. We only have like 10 people online occasionally. But if we're going to expand the player base, we're probably going to do more promotion through the government YouTube channel and maybe other social media to get more people to join. And I think through holding more activities, we're going to keep the existing players active as well. Yeah.
All right. CodeWiz, are you back yet? I'm going to take that as a no. So next up, Kraka. What programs would you introduce or build on to help expand Heartland's player base? You have 2 minutes starting now.
So this is something that we've covered in a chapter of our new manifesto as well. We, of course, love activity. Who wouldn't on this server? It's an amazing server. And events are an excellent way to boost activity. BAR will look to incentivize promotion by further upping pay for making promotional videos of Harlan by post via amending Bill HB 3052, Amended Media and Server Promotions of 2023 Act. For example.
Okay, and that's all I presume. So next up, Code. What programs would your party implement or build on to help expand Heartland's player base? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
What programs would your party introduce or build on to help expand Heartland's player base? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Primarily, we want to focus on just getting the server out there. Harlan, we used to be quite active on like social media platforms, and there was, I think the last video we had was one for the M5. I feel like just revitalizing that would be a very sustainable way to grow the player base. Another would just be making sure when we get them on the server that we can actually have them stay. So like making maybe a tutorial or easy guide like some other servers have when you first join. That's my primary plan.
All right, I will be giving. All right, so Jennifer, would you like to respond to any of the other two responses?
Got nothing to add.
Okay, CodeWiz, would you like to respond?
No.
And Cracker, would you like to respond?
No.
Okay, so we will now be moving on to our next question and our next category. Our next category, give me a second. Let me just. Our next category will actually be finance. So, hold on. In transition. Okay, there we go. All right, our next question will be finance. So, as it stands, Harlan's economy is seemingly rather strong. There's a expected spring economic statement soon, but there's always more room to build on it, and we want to know how you're going to build on it. So, first of all, I am going to ask CodeWiz, where in the budget would your party cut and raise? You are going to have 2 minutes starting now.
I feel like one of the major things that we need to raise is probably transit funding and like money for public services. I feel like one area that we could possibly cut is some for like give me a moment, like the less necessary parts of government programs, or but I feel like it's good to always like analyze what the value of stuff is in our budgets before making decisions.
All right. Next up, Kraka, you are going to have 2 minutes. Where in the budget would your party cut and raise? You are going to have 2 minutes starting now.
We have a quite detailed section about economy in our manifesto. One of the things that we have mentioned is that we want to reduce the shop tax. So, for example, it's currently levied against the shop owner. If we were to reduce this to 1% or even lower, that will help increase profit margins for struggling businesses. And another thing about businesses, new small businesses applying for funding for the first time to kickstart a tough journey, perhaps. And we also want to take a look into the tax brackets, perhaps.
I want to be quickly clear. We are going to get into taxes later. That is a separate category item.
Taxes are separate.
The budget is what I would like to know on non-taxes.
Okay, then that's all I believe.
All right. Okay, and okay. So next up, Januki. What would you like to cut? What would your party like to cut and raise in the budget when you get into government, or if you get into government? You have 2 minutes starting now.
I think for the parts we're going to cut, there's not a lot of things we're going to cut for the finance part, but we're definitely going to add a bit of budget for building more oil rigs. This is one of the things we're proposing to do, because I think we are lacking activity in the fuel market somehow, and that's one of the things we're planning to boost, because I think a lot of players would drive around, and having fuel is crucial to them. And with more oil rigs and a more prosperous fuel industry, this is going to boost economic activity. And having this in the budget is going to be important. But if there's one thing we're going to cut, we're going to cut the CPI commissions and just do the CPI thing. by the ministers themselves, so we can save a bit of expense from the government.
All right. I am going to CodeWiz. Would you like to respond to any of the two others?
No.
Okay, Kraka, you?
No, thank you.
All right. And Januki, would you like to respond to any of the two others?
No.
Okay. We will next up be moving on to our next question. Kraka, what regulations would your party introduce or reduce on businesses and where? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Well, I kind of answered that one on the last question too. But so as we said, we want to reduce the shop tax, and we want to give small businesses and new business owners a opportunity to apply for a sum to get their journey started. I suppose that's mostly what we want to do regarding businesses.
Okay. Next up, Januki, you will have 2 minutes. What regulations would you introduce or reduce on businesses and where? 2 minutes starting now.
I don't think we have a lot to introduce regarding to businesses. We're just going to keep the existing policies of the past government on this aspect. So I don't think there's a lot for us to add on this.
All right. And next up, CodeWiz, what regulations would your party introduce or reduce on businesses? 2 minutes starting now.
I feel like although there are little companies that actually employ employees within Harlan, it would be a good idea to maybe require them to pay their employees a minimum wage. I feel like we also should definitely lower maybe the costs of rent. But overall, that's the party's main view on it.
All right. Kraka, would you like to give any responses to the other two candidates?
No, thank you.
All right. Januki, any responses to the other two candidates?
No, thank you.
And CodeWiz, any responses to the other two candidates?
Nope.
All right. We will then be moving on to our next question, which is touched on before. But what would you introduce tax raises and cuts, and if so, where? Januki, you go first. 2 minutes starting now.
We're going to raise tax on the rich people because I think we have a pretty large deficit on the government currently, and it's so big that even if we cut the budget, it's not going to fix it. So we're going to impose higher taxes on the rich people. This is not going to hurt the most of the citizens. Only the richest people would be affected, and I think they have more responsibility to contribute to the country's development. This would only be a temporary measure to reduce the deficit, and it would not be an eternal tax on them. It would just be a slight raise on probably this term or the coming year. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Next up, CodeWiz. Would your party introduce any tax raises or cuts, and if so, where? 2 minutes starting now.
I feel like we, as a party, also agreeing with Januki, will want to raise the wealth taxes slightly higher. We also maybe want to consider like new forms of taxation. We're not sure yet on our aim for that, but we do think it's a alternative that could help diversify how taxes work in Harlan. We also think that agreeing with Kraka's point earlier, shop tax or what's it called?
Sales tax.
Sales tax should be lowered, and yeah.
Okay, and then Kraka, you have 2 minutes. Same question. Where would your party introduce tax cuts or raises, and if so, where? 2 minutes right now.
Taxes, it's of course a very complex issue. So this is something that we would want to do proper investigation about before we come to any conclusions. We would be interested in adjusting the tax brackets to be more dynamic, to support business subsidies while still maintaining fiscal responsibility.
Okay. And Januki, would you like to respond to any of the two other candidates?
No, thank you.
Okay, CodeWiz, would you like to respond to any of the two others?
No.
Okay, and Kraka, would you like to respond to any of the two others?
No, thank you.
Okay, in that case, we will be moving on to our next category. Category number 4, governing. That is unless you guys want to do the candidate-specific questions, because I know some of you may need to go sooner than later. Okay, I'm presuming...
how many questions are you going to ask in this category?
3. All right. I'm presuming it's fine then? Or... Okay. We'll go forward. Now... okay, I would like to quickly preface this that this question was written when Ocelot was still on the stage, but CodeWiz, all of you at some point have been ministers. What was your proudest achievement as a minister? CodeWiz, you have 2 minutes starting now.
As a minister, I mean, for most of my time as a minister, I served as the Minister of Infrastructure and Development. And throughout that, my proudest achievements probably are opening affordable housing and developing further public infrastructure for the people of Harlan. And I feel like that's definitely one of my proudest achievements.
All right. Kraka, this question goes to you. I guess I'll modify it slightly since it doesn't really apply anymore. What was your proudest achievement in Harlan politics so far? You have 2 minutes starting now.
I am comparatively quite new to the scene of Harlem politics, of course. I would still say that it is... Ooh, that is a tough question. I would have to say the manifesto, which we have written together in BAR. I've helped a little bit on that new one, which will be published shortly, I believe.
All right. In that case, next up we'll go to Januki. They appear to be having some slight troubles in game and maybe on Discord. But Januki, are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So next question, or sorry, not next question. The question is, what has been your proudest achievement as a minister in Harlem? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Back then I was the deputy prime minister, and the proudest achievement was that I met with both Stratham and Andon. It was a pretty troublesome situation because there was a lot of arguments between the two servers, and we tried our best to negotiate. And although it was not really successful after all, we really did try our best, and I think during the entire negotiation, we protected our stance as a neutral country, and we also preserve our national dignity. And I'm very proud of that, although it was not entirely a good outcome, but still, yes.
All right. Okay, CodeWiz, would you like to respond to any of the two other candidates?
No.
Kraka, you?
No, thank you.
And Januki, you?
No.
Okay, in that case, we will be moving on to our next question. How would you work with the civil service, and what changes would you make? I believe Kraka answers now. I could be wrong, though. So, Kraka, you have 2 minutes starting now.
Could you repeat the question again, sorry?
What how would you work with the civil service, and what changes would you make? 2 minutes starting now.
With wait, your microphone kind of cut out. Which service?
The civil service.
Civil service.
2 minutes starting now.
I don't believe we would make too many changes. We're quite satisfied with how it works. We'd like to continue.
All right. So in that case, we'll move on to Januki. How would you work with the civil service, and what changes would you make? 2 minutes starting now.
Sorry, by civil service, do you mean like the employees under the government, or?
Yes.
As we have mentioned, we're going to introduce a payment reform where they will be paid by the task they finish. So because I believe that you may correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are some rather inactive employees within the government, and not every employees get to work throughout the entire term. So to create more incentive for them to work, we're going to pay by commission or by piece rate. They're still going to get a base salary though for their survival needs, but I think this is going to ensure accountability and also make our employees more active. We're going to sort out which employees are too inactive as well, so we can streamline the government operation and also increase efficiency. That's it.
All right. CodeWiz, how would you work with the civil service, and what changes would you make? 2 minutes starting now.
Similar to what Januki said, we do want to really sort out the inactive players within the government. I know there's definitely many people who have not contributed much to their position, and I feel like it's definitely our responsibility in government to make sure our civil service is active. But definitely a commission system like Januki proposed would definitely be a good idea. But I also think like maybe just activity check-ins, or like just having someone to oversee and make sure they are doing their jobs would also work.
All right. And next up, Krako, would you like to respond to any of the 2 other candidates?
Thank you.
All right. Januki, would you like to respond to any of the 2 other candidates?
No, thank you.
And CodeWiz, would you like to respond to any of the 2 other candidates?
No.
All right. We have had a pretty agreeable debate so far. I think we've only gotten a response like twice, and you guys agreed during that. So, this question might be a bit contentious towards each other, though. Januki, you will be going first. Of the parties on stage today, who would you work with in a coalition? You have 2 minutes starting now.
We're going to prioritize a coalition with the Harlem Progress Party, although we're open to have coalition with both parties, or like even a 3-party coalition. But at this moment, we're going to prioritize the Harlem Progress Party because I think if like you have been an old player in Harlem, you probably know that the National Democratic Party and the Harlem Progress Party has a lot of beef between them. And while CodeWiz and me are pretty great friends, I believe, hopefully, and this is like the only chance NI and HPP would get to start working together in a coalition. So this is going to make Harlem less divided, and we can actually work in a more peaceful environment to benefit everyone in the Republic and in the server. That's it.
All right. CodeWiz, of the parties on stage today, who would you work with in a coalition? 2 minutes starting now.
Pretty similar to what Januki said. We've been discussing possible party coalitions, and as Januki mentioned, yes, in the past, the NI and the HPP have been quite the mortal enemies. But I feel like we definitely can unite to form a effective coalition. We would be we're open to working with Bar, although due to some earlier events this term, we have lost trust in some of its members.
All right. And Kraka, moving on to you. Of the parties on stage today, who would you work with in a coalition? You have 2 minutes, starting now.
Of course, this largely depends on the election results, but in the current situation, we would be more open to working. To be fair, we would be open to working with both parties, of course, or other parties as well. But currently, more so Harlem Progress Party.
All right. Okay, so Januki, would you like to respond to any two other candidates?
Not much. No.
Yeah, CodeWiz, you.
No.
And Kraka, you.
I would like to respond to CodeWiz's statement.
Okay, you have 2 minutes, starting now.
I understand that BAR has had a rocky history, perhaps, the past term, but we are turning over a new leaf now. A lot of things are changing, a lot of things in the manifesto, and I believe we should be given another chance, so to speak.
Okay. CodeWiz, would you like to respond to that?
I definitely feel like there are many members within your party that we trust, and I feel like work together, and I would be open to discussions. And as Kraka mentioned earlier, it does heavily depend on election results.
All right. And Kraka, would you like to respond to Code? This would be your final response.
No, thank you.
Okay. I presume Code's not going to want to respond to himself. So, okay. Now we will be moving on to our next and final category before the closing remarks. Candidate-specific questions. I'll be asking each of you a specific question pertaining to your party and candidacy, and we're going to be figuring out if, how that changes people's views. So, next, I believe CodeWiz would be going first. Correct me if I'm wrong. I kind of forgot. But, okay. CodeWiz. As it stands, the polls currently project a Harlan Progress Party majority. Why should Harlonians entrust you with that majority as opposed to a minority government where you're forced to work with other parties? And why should they give you a stronger majority if you're already projected to get a majority in the polls? You will have 2 minutes to respond starting now.
Oh, within Harlan, we've seen through many elections that every vote counts, and we at the Harlan Progress Party, through our many terms of experience, have shown we can definitely stand up and take that and make the changes that are necessary and stay active while doing so. And definitely, if we're in a majority, we would be very open to working with both parties, and in a minority as well. We think that it's definitely a changing point in Harlan with activity on the rise, and we definitely will be able to take that and help not only improve it, but help those new players find their spot in Harlan.
All right. Would any of the two other candidates like to respond to that? Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. So next up, we will be moving on to Kraka. So, Kraka, as it stands, Barr has been criticized on both sides of the aisle for continuously changing its position on issues for multiple months now, and going from confidence votes to transit to foreign relations. Why should how can voters believe anything you're saying on stage tonight if you have changed so much? In fact, one could even say you literally changed leaders while on stage right now. How can voters trust you with that? You have 2 minutes starting now.
I completely understand what you're saying. Ocelot has I won't be sharing things without his permission, but for personal reasons, he has decided to step down as party leader. This is unrelated to the fact that there is a debate going on right now. And as I said before in my previous statement, we are turning over a new leaf now. So a lot of things will be changing, but a lot of things will now be staying for good.
All right. Okay, would any of the two other would any of the two other candidates like to respond to that?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Next up, we will be moving on to the NI specific question. Januki, in April last year, NI won a majority and formed a government. Your government, that government's record in terms of activity, was arguably the worst in modern Harlonian history. Why should the country trust you not to repeat that should you go into government again? You have 2 minutes starting now.
Firstly, we do acknowledge that it was a very bad government back then. Looking at the sky for like 2 hours was definitely not a good idea. But one reason why people should trust the new initiative, because through the last term, we learned a lot on what we should do and what we should avoid. And I think it is important because as opposition, we get a lot of chances to criticize the government. And we see a lot of things that in the government that should improve. So I hope that the people would give us like a second chance for us to be in the government again and deliver an actual change for the country. Because I always believe that in public service a second chance is not granted, and we definitely understand this. But I hope people can understand that it's not easy to be as good as the past administrations in the first try. And I'd like to stress that, as I become the new leader of NI, a lot of things are changing. We're not the alliance that people saw us as like a year ago. So we have definitely changed and improved a lot, and we are ready to serve Harlonians.
All right. Would any of the other two candidates like to respond to that? CodeWiz? Draka?
Nope.
Okay. In that case, we will now be moving on to closing remarks. Kraka, I will be giving you 3 minutes to deliver your closing remarks. Please explain why Harlem voters should choose you and Bar. You have 3 minutes starting now.
Beer, there's a way. That was our motto last election. And of course, Harlem is in fairly good condition, you would say, right now. And we would like to continue that, of course. However, we also recognize that there's room for improvement, as is with anything. We have extensive politics regarding the economy, events, and other promotion methods. Wait, hang on. 1 second.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, we can move on to the next one. Something.
Oh, okay. All right. Januki, your closing remarks. Why should Harlan voters choose you? You have 3 minutes starting now.
Thank you everyone for listening to this debate. I think we have already talked a lot about our policies. We're going to protect investors. We're going to make this country prosper. We're going to introduce events for the Republic, and we're hoping to work with everyone on the stage and in the future parliament. And for the remaining of the time, let me talk a bit about myself. I came to Holland around 2 years ago. I was attracted by the politics and the trains here in the server, just like a lot of other people. And coming from a place with limited political freedom, I understand how important democracy is to the server and to everyone here. Although in real life republics or real life democracies, there's always a lot of arguments between the parties. But in this Minecraft server in Holland, I believe that kindness is always the way. I hope that we can put down all the hate and the arguments, and we can work together, because this is the only way we can benefit Holland. In Chinese old sayings, Confucius once said, we should reflect on ourselves 3 times a day. No matter we are going to be the opposition or be in the cabinet, we are going to keep this as a motto throughout the entire term, to always reflect on what we have done, and we will always try our best to deliver what we have promised, and to keep your trust in NI and in Holland politics as a whole. My name in Chinese literally means to be humble, and I think being humble is very important as a politician. We're not going to brag about things we have not done, and we're going to try our best to target the most important issues throughout the Republic, no matter how small that issue is, how minor that issue looks. It is always a big issue for us as public servants. We really hope you can get your vote next weekend. Please vote for a new initiative, for a government with transparency, with accountability, and for a humble administration that will work for all of you. Thank you.
All right. CodeWiz, you will now have 3 minutes. Why should the public vote for you and the Harlem Progress Party? 3 minutes starting now.
In the past, we have seen how much Harlan has trusted us, and we hope to maintain that trust. In this term, we will continue to always do what we have done by protecting and helping the people of Harlan. We will, of course, always listen to any criticism, and we will ensure that our government not only cares but acts on the things that matter to citizens. As for me, I have been in government I've been in parliament for about 2 years now, and I am very grateful for the experience it has given me, and I really think it has prepared me to possibly be the prime minister. Thank you, and vote HBP.
All right. And now both, okay, so would any of the candidates like to respond to any of the closing remarks you have delivered? I will be taking that as a no. I would like to thank all 3 of you for joining us tonight. The viewers for joining. Well, not really tonight. It's day over here. But I would like to thank all of the leaders for joining us today, especially Crack-Up, as you were randomly called like less than an hour ago after the debate had already started.
This was the very first thing I did as a party leader.
Yeah. Now, obviously, this debate is, it might not be key in everyone's vote, but it is useful in some people's vote. And I do believe that it might have a real effect on the election. I would like to thank all of you for engaging in the democratic process. And I'd like to thank all the viewers for also engaging in that by watching this debate. Between April 25th and 27th, Harlonians will go to the polls to decide a new prime minister and to decide a new parliament. From there, one of you three will more than likely be the Prime Minister, and I wish all of you the best of luck in that, and I wish the Harlonians the best of luck in their choice. Thank you for watching, and WBC will continue our election coverage as new things come up. Thanks for watching.